Hi, I'm Dr. Chloe Carmichael, clinical psychologist and best-selling author of Nervous Energy, Harness the Power of Your Anxiety. I speak all over the world for groups of lawyers and other professionals, and I'm excited to share with you a few of my best tips for lawyers. One of the things I've noticed about lawyers is that they tend to have a capacity for what psychologists call catastrophic thinking. What this means, of course, is that you have a tendency to be able to think ahead and plan for the worst and prepare for the worst. This is, of course, an asset for lawyers to be able to think ahead that way, but it can also become a liability if it becomes a skill that you do automatically so often to the point where maybe you're even doing it when you're not at work. Another thing I've noticed about lawyers is a tendency towards perfectionism or to be so busy that you sometimes don't even get really caught up with yourself. And this can lead to things like procrastination and burnout. So, on to the tips to help with these challenges. The first tip I want to share with you is something called the mental shortlist. What we do in the mental shortlist is we come up with 5 things in advance that we know are positive, that make us feel good. It can be anything from a particularly positive memory to a vacation or something that you're anticipating to a positive relationship that makes you feel good when you think about a certain person or even a particular affirmation or statement. But the idea is to have 5 things in particular, often written down so that you truly know exactly what they are. And then when you're ending your day, you deliberately cycle through that mental shortlist. And what that does is it trains your mind to shift focus out of the catastrophic thinking mentality, putting yourself into a more deliberately and intentionally positive mindset. This helps you to refuel and recharge and guard against burnout so that you're not just needlessly sitting and stewing in a catastrophic thinking mindset. Another good way to use the mental shortlist technique is for lawyers when they have a habit of focusing on a certain case almost automatically, which can be helpful to a certain degree to have a tenacious automatic habit of just keeping a certain case in mind, except for when that case is over or when you've done everything you can to prepare for it and it's just no longer fruitful in that moment to keep focusing on that case. So the way we would adapt the mental shortlist technique in that situation is we would come up with 5 things that are better uses for your business time. So that could be anything from certain particular new cases that you need to think about to efforts at drumming up new business, to thanking and nurturing relationships with your staff or intra-office networking, or any of the other things that might be particular to your situation. But what you do is you come up with 5 particular things so that when you find yourself starting to ruminate down to a bit of a dead-end professional topic, you have a very particular good place to go with that energy, because that mental energy is actually a gift. We just want to make sure that we're using it the right way for you. Another technique I like for lawyers is called the mind mapping technique. As the name implies, in the mind mapping technique, we're guided to make a little map of certain cognitive concepts in our heads, as well as then what connects to those concepts, and then what connects to those connections. This can be used in a variety of ways for lawyers, but one of the ways that can be helpful is to reconnect to why a lawyer became a lawyer in the first place, because many lawyers start out very fresh-faced. They maybe started off their law career with an interest in social justice or using their verbal skills or providing for their family. But then certain challenges came up along the way, certain obstacles, and some of those original concepts, we can almost start to lose sight of them. So the mind map can start to awaken us to what those things were in the first place, as well as give us a chance to take a clear-headed look at what some of the challenges and obstacles are around those things, and then think strategically about how we can overcome those challenges. And what this does is it helps us to feel a sense of self-efficacy and power and strategy over the way that we're living our lives. Another great way for lawyers to use mind maps, because they tend to be, mentally going all the time, and sometimes putting their own needs aside to take care of the needs of others, which again is an asset to a certain degree in the workplace. But we also need to learn how to offset it sometimes and make sure that we are also understanding ourselves and paying attention to what's going on with ourselves. This actually makes us more productive as well as more fulfilled. So another way that you can use mind maps to do that is through a daily debrief. So at the end of the day, you can just do a mind map around my day and think about what comes up for that day for you. It could be to-dos, it could be certain emotions, it could be certain relationships or conversations that occurred, as well as some of your thoughts and feelings or action items around those topics. And then when you're all done with it, you have a nice overview of the day and a sense of connection with yourself, and maybe even a few action steps. Well, thanks so much. I hope that you found these tips valuable. It was fun to share them. Thanks and have a good day.